to the thing about Trump, and I agree with what he's saying. He's saying that Europe needs to pay more. I think you made the distinction of it's 3.5%. They need to pay 3.5% of their GDP towards military. It's actually supposed to be 5, but then they're now trying to work out something where it's 3.5 towards military and 1.5 towards broader security issues. That just means 1.5 as kickback. You get my point. What do you think, Kule? What about that?
The problem that is there is that when you pay the most money, you have the most control and the most power over the last word. So yes, America is saving money by not having to pay for NATO, but then they're now going to have significantly less influence in making decisions around.
Yeah, but they're still going to be paying. They're still going to be paying more than 90% of it, though. Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
Each country pays 3 point something percentage. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So
yeah.
So when you add up with that, yeah, America will be paying significantly less. Well, they have no choice because they have to keep Europe from banding with China, and because Europe should be banding with China and Russia and create a Eurasian state.
What I'm trying to point out is that money that America is paying, it's not gratis. It's getting something back in return.
They're getting something back too. They're getting strategic.
So that influence is being lost for that money. So America should bear that in mind. Then it's not a win-win for them. That's all I'm saying in respect of.
Well, actually, sorry to cut in front of you. It's the sign of a declining empire like Rome. Rome had to start ceding more or less power because the U.S. economy is imploding. So they have to cut spending. So now Europe has to pick it up. So they're losing. It's ultimately the sign that the U.S. economy is on the way out. Not just the U.S. empire. The U.S. empire.
Western governments are destroying the middle class, and white Westerners are not reproducing, which is why they need the very immigrants that they demonize because they can't reproduce anymore. And so they're running out. And that's basically what happened to Rome. The people who worship Zeus died out. The people who worship Christ increased because of health and living lifestyle and practices like that. And in Europe, no matter how much money they've become too greedy that they're not ready to sacrifice themselves to have a family. Because family requires sacrifice of the man and the woman. And the children that they're now having.
Well, why do you think I only had one kid, motherfucker?
Yeah, so now
I ain't having no more kids. Go ahead.
Yeah, and even when it comes to single parent families, it's still the poor people that are the main drivers of this. It's still not white people. They're not the white middle class is not reproducing, and it's losing that populative battle to stay afloat. These two things are going to come to a head at some point, and we will see a big shift and change in the way that the world moves. I mean, like now, between now and the last time I was in England, England is now much more Nigerian now than it was in 2007. And in 2007, you could buy pepper and yam in Peckham, and you could walk down the streets of Peckham in 2007, not see a white person. And that was in 2007. It's worse now than then. So I understand where they're coming from.
I want a goosey soup. I'm going.
Yeah, so there are more Igbos on the Dome Mountains than there.
No, we're actually looking at the death of the Western Empire. Now we need to keep an eye on China, because China, I think one day China will show their true colors too. If you understand what I'm trying to say, China wants to take over the world, but I don't care. That's not my problem.
Well, China looks at the general wealth. It looks at a common wealth, which is ironic to use that word for a country that had an empire that was the exact opposite of that. But China wants to see the world as everywhere should be like Beijing. Everywhere should be like all those big cities. Everywhere you go, there should be plenty of money and plenty of wealth, and good working conditions. And then, you're only looking at the difference in culture. So everywhere is nice, but you're eating by in a nice place, or you're eating Chinese rice in a They believe everywhere should be beautiful.
Yeah.
Whether they're sincere or not is another thing, but that is their
you
idea.
watch out for China, because China's creepy, because they want uniformity and everything, but it's still authoritarian. So, and you have to remember that China has the opposite of a trade deficit. They have a trade advantage over every country. So they'll start to control these other countries more and more, which is not a totally bad thing. But you may wake up one day in China and they'll tell you can't do porn, you can't masturbate to porn anymore, or something like that. They may become strict.
That's so it has its drawbacks. It does has its drawbacks. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that we can only use vice as an example, but
no, there's many other examples, and also at some point they're going to say that, okay, we are going to be the central bank of the world. Do you get my point? And they're going to control the world.
There's a possibility of that, and then there's always a danger of that government becoming evil. The way Augustus ruled Rome for 100 years, Pax Romani, everything was fine.
China is hoarding gold.
Claudius came, and a few more crazy people came and started doing unfair deals and broke all the peace. So China could do the same thing in generations to come. So for that reason, you do need to maintain your autonomy and sovereignty.
So this is why we say that African countries should join BRICS, but they should make sure that they develop a lot of internal coherence and a lot of centralized banks within, so that they're not absolutely susceptible. We want to trade with China. We don't want them to dictate our policies. But right now, they have leverage, and they're going to continue having leverage. And the thing about China is they'll play along with you. If you have a trade deficit and you don't do anything about it, they're not going to make you improve the trade deficit. They'll be like, okay, but also they're not going to stop you from improving it. If you strengthen your money, they'll still deal with you because they have logistical advantages. But they remember China has a population problem. So they need the world to be running this way because they need to send their people to other parts. So long as there's not a threat to their existential existence, I don't think they'll become violent towards other countries. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah.
I think China can solve its population problem because it was something that was artificially manufactured 30 years ago. I think that they're trying to rectify it now.
They needed to build, because that's why they have the best labor.
Because when they had the one-child policy. Now they've reversed the one-child policy and given you more benefits if it's more than one child, but they haven't yet recovered from it. But I think they will. They're not like the West, which has become non-productive because the culture has gradually become more selfish and more self-serving, which
but they just need to be careful because
I want to deliver to acquire things, not for family.
I think it's a cultural thing.
So it's becoming materialistic. Yes.
It's a cultural thing. In general, Chinese. Go ahead.
Yeah, China still maintains its family values, but Western culture has become so materialistic that it's
like even African nations, we're never going to become to that point where family is not important. Even in Nigeria, as corrupt as Nigeria is, it's still a communal country. South Africa is a communal country. But in West, communalism doesn't exist. It's purely individualism, which is what has led to the fall of these empires. The Chinese empire has endured for 20,000 years. It's had peaks and falls, but it's endured because they have a communal structure. Yeah. So same thing with the Arabic. They will still keep their caliphates. They'll still keep their clans. But in Europe and America, there's no such thing as clan or family or anything. It's just pure psychopathic, territorialistic imperialism. Hey, that was a nice one. Psychopathic, imperialistic, territorialistic, imperial.
That's for the lower classes. The ruling classes have a nice long history.
They work together. All right, so Clay, let's get.
Yes.
And last time we were talking about the NATO thing, and we'll end with you saying that you think Trump is handling this Europe thing and Ukraine thing a lot better than sleepy Joe Biden did. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, if you look at the overview, Trump has at least made an effort to try to end the war, which Biden has made absolutely no effort to attempt.
He tried to ramp it up. It got to the point where
he's tried to ramp it up. He's tried to hide the reasons why. At least Trump has allowed Russia to come and say to the world, this is why we're fighting, and this is what we don't agree with. so that they can now come to the table and discuss what's going on. So I will give Trump kudos for now on Ukraine, not on Gaza. On the trade war is a distraction. I think that that's just a potential distraction because there's nothing really else for him to do to make him put him in the news for now. The main thing he wants to be in the news, but he doesn't want to be associated with war. He wants to be associated with making money for America and making America great again. And these wars are getting in his way. So he wants to get past the wars and get the right optics to show that America is more successful for its immigration, anti-immigration laws. It's all pro-white laws, and good old America is getting back to the white man as it used to be in the 60s. Is what they're trying to go for. And the 70s. The 50s, sorry. The 50s were the utopia. That was
the peak of the American experiment. That was the peak of it. And that was the point at which America was not an empire. It was on the verge of becoming an empire, but it wasn't. Now America has overstretched itself with the Korean War, the Vietnam War.
The years of the Stepford wives.
Yeah, they've overstretched. I miss those days, even though I wasn't born then. And even back in those days, even though blacks didn't have the same rights as whites, they still had separate communities which had almost just as good education and businesses. So there was segregation, but there wasn't like black people on the street.
And they still had their communities. They still had communities.
We had some of the brilliant. That generation brought the most brilliant black people, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. And during that period, there were black banks, black companies, everything. Then they said, oh, let's integrate. And integration in its way destroyed the black community in America. All right, so that's a good one. Yeah, we're done. I think we need a day off. We won't do a show tomorrow, but we have 2 recordings.
I'm going to eat ramen tomorrow.
Oh, man. You're making me sad. I've been on veganism tomorrow, but I'm going to break that rule tomorrow, and I'm going to find a Muslim community around here and eat me some goddamn.
My wife said she's going to use it to make palm oil stew. That she's going to use it to eat amala and begiri.
I'm going to buy. I'm serious. I'm supposed to be vegan, but I'm halfway vegan. I'm going tomorrow to the Mexican store, and I'm going to buy goat meat, and I'm going to get fucking down, man. Fuck that shit.
When you come to Nigeria, I will make some badass.
There's a place called Hajira. I'm going to buy Hajira suya, beef suya, but then I'm also going to make goat suya at home. And I'm going to buy a pound of yam. And no, tomorrow's going to be on. No show tomorrow.
It's going to be lit.
If you're Mr. Johnny, you guys can get drunk and we can just do a bullshit show on anything. I'm serious. We'll just talk.
Yeah, we'll be around. We can probably do a show tomorrow.
But it's not going to be. It's not meant for. It's just going to be where we're drinking. And you might even be doing a couple of lines on the table. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Johnny's coming tonight or tomorrow, so we'll arrange. Yeah.
All right. Take us out, Kule. Take us out.
Okay, so it's been another dark day for the Palestinians in Gaza. We have seen developments in the Ukraine, and we are grateful to see that we are still in the world that we live in, and that there is some humanity as Europe begins to turn on Israel. And so from myself and Mustafa, it's been a great show today. Let's hope that peace has more of a chance as we progress in life.
Peace
Goodbye,
in the Middle East.
And peace in the Middle East is all we want. So good night to all. I bid you farewell.
I do. Do you want to see it tomorrow? I do. Bye.
I do. I did you.